You can't be in a village without looking after all your villagers. Am I looking at you or am I looking at the camera? I'm looking at you. Cool. Hello, my name is Cassie Jane and I'm founder of Derry Meet Ups. When I initially decided to come home, it was just for a couple of days. I was in a very difficult position back in England, and I always say I needed to run home to my mummy. And so I did, and I was there. I was home for a couple of days, which turned into a couple of weeks, turned into a couple of months, turned into a couple of years. And really, I think for me, it was just I knew I needed to go somewhere, and I know I needed to be cared for. I needed to feel safe. And obviously, this is kind of just at the end of COVID. And throughout COVID, obviously being in the UK, it counted as a domestic flight to go from, I was living in Oxford, to home to Derry. So I was back and forth throughout COVID. And because, everything was slowed down, everything was switched off, everyone was outside, I was able to really fall back in love with the country and the people and the place where I was born. But I'd been away for so long. So when I knew I needed to go somewhere, I knew exactly where I needed to go, and that was to come home. Sit down, enjoy. This is a very calm, very casual class. Get to know the people around you. At the end of the day, we're here to make friends as well as learn some Irish words, and I will leave you in the very capable hands of Corey.
Hi guys, Kajimatashin. So I'm Corey, and just a wee bit of background about me. I have been speaking Irish before I could walk, so it's actually a really funny story, and Cassie makes me tell everybody. So I was born in New York, random fact, and my mum and daddy met there. My mum is from Derry, my daddy's from Belfast, and whenever I was about a year old, my daddy got the flu, so we moved home from New York, and flu.
So I am a brand coordinator for an organisation called Cullen, and we facilitate events, all as Gaeilge, and try to normally Irish as a language. I first came across Derry Meet Ups around Easter time last year, and the first event that I seen was the Yum Cakes event, but I missed it and had actually seen a friend from school that I hadn't spoke to in nearly 20 years was attending another one and was seeing that she was going to a swim and sauna event, and I was really interested because I love sea swimming anyways, so it was like a really natural progression for me to want to go to one of the events. And me and her met, we drove down to Dunfanaghy together, and I ended up meeting some of the most lovely people, and from then it was nearly impossible to keep me away from the events. Personally, Derry Meet Ups has given me loads of different opportunities of things that I wanted to try. For example, surfing. I never knew how to surf, and I still don't know how to surf, but I had the best time at the surfing sessions. And it's also introduced me to different shops and different cafes and stuff like that there around the time that I wouldn't normally go to, because you know yourself, you have your own local. But like, for example, I love coming to Graf now just because of the different bits and pieces that we've done. So that's affected me personally big time. And another thing too, it's all fun stuff where you don't need alcohol involved, which is a massive thing too, because we have a very alcohol heavy based culture. So it's lovely doing those super things. Professionally, I facilitate Irish language workshops anyways, and this is just an extra wee passion project that we started producing, and it's really, really kicked off, and I have to say it's one of my most favourite events that I am a part of.
The Irish language cafe nights here was because me and Corey, the facilitator, were talking about me doing a one-to-one session on a Monday night, and I was like, we'll just make an event out of it, and those have been completely oversubscribed. If we think about what's selling well now, which is a horrific way to put it, but if you think of what's the most popular, it is this kind of coming back to our historic needs as human beings. Like, the Irish cafes, we can't hold tickets for them. They sell out within 30 minutes because there's now this movement and resurgence to come back to the Irish language. Our storytelling nights were very much the same because people are replicating like offline cafes, I shouldn't be able to make money. Well, I don't really make much money at all, but like I shouldn't have to sell tickets to people to be off their phones for 2 hours. But this is what we're all craving, and the way that things are being built at the minute and the expectations that people put on us within society is that it doesn't give space for that naturally. And so we are having to make a really conscious effort to carve that space out, which is why these events like the storytelling, the Irish cafe, the offline cafe, that's why these are so successful, because it's giving people a space to step back.
And she wasn't Baywatch.
I know, I mean, I don't care. I was debating it because the piles, I was like,
Actually, we were in the rain and they were talking about it wrong.
yes. Anyone else been bullshit about these times? I don't even know.
Deliveries, I didn't get that part.
Are you supposed to be selling when you're like at your last card? Would you have gone?
No, because you don't really want to draw attention to it.
Right, that's what I was trying to say. I thought I'll just
The
whatever you said, I was
chances of
just
your
really
last
like
card being one that you can actually play are so low.
I think I was feeling something that I've now come to realize a lot of people were feeling, in that I was feeling incredibly lonely. You know, I'd been home about 2 years, but I was in a weird position because I worked for myself, I didn't have any kids, and I don't drink. So there was 3 very easy routes for making friends that were closed off to me. Like COVID was kind of a bit of a blur by that point, but it was definitely the sense of feeling like I wanted to do things, I wanted to do more, I wanted to live life, I wanted to experience things, make new memories, try everything that I could, but I had no one to do it with or anyone to share that with, because I hadn't really made any friends by that point.
I'm so glad I introduced bullshit to Derry Meet Ups. It's not really on brand, but I'm loving it. Right.
I had the idea in January that we needed a community space and that community connections needed to happen, but I thought I was the only one who needed it. So I sat on the idea for about 4 months, and then it was just a really lonely weekend in April where I was just particularly sad. And I put this reel out on Instagram and I said, here, does anyone want to go for coffee dates, go to markets, go on hikes, go on sea swims, go do all these wholesome, beautiful things that we're all meant to do. And we got like 60,000 views in a couple of days and 1,000 followers overnight. And suddenly I was organising meetups, and meetups turned into regular Derry meetups.
You're all so welcome. Who's this? That's those white boys. Sorry. Derry Meet Ups, who's never been before? Oh wow, that's so cool. You guys are so welcome. For those of you who don't really know what we do, we put on a range of different community events, all with the purpose of meeting new people, making new friends, and basically creating connections that will then ripple out into your own little universes. So get chatty. I know most of you did come with people, that's okay. We're not going to mix you up or anything, because I'm too tired to work better.
So I mentally wasn't actually ready or in a space to hold that for other people yet. I didn't realize how big it would be. I didn't realize I'd be doing it 2 years later as a business. And at the time I was incredibly burnt out. I was incredibly tired and really needing connection, but didn't have the energy yet to realize I'd be facilitating that connection for a lot of people. So it was met, I was just like, fuck. Because then I realized that it wasn't just me, that a lot of other people needed it too. And I kind of was the one who volunteered to make it happen. I was really excited, but I was incredibly nervous because I felt like it was my birthday party and I was just waiting for no one to turn up. Bearing in mind, we only had about, I think, 25 tickets available. And it was a completely sponsored event, so the tickets were free. Every single person turned up, but they sold out within 4 minutes. And that was the first meetup that I did, because when I got all of these followers for meetups, everyone was asking, when's the first event, when's the first event, when's the first event? And kind of similar to as I was saying, when I started it and I was met with this demand, I wasn't ready for it. So going into that event, I was incredibly excited, but I also didn't massively have the bandwidth for myself to be facilitating as much as I needed to. Like I remember at one point, my friend Paddy, who was helping me take some content, I kind of went into the corner of the room with him and I was just like, I'm so tired. But once I got into my groove and I saw that the connections were being made between people and how easily everyone was coming together in that space, because everyone wanted connection. There were people again who were in their car for like 20 minutes beforehand who were too scared to come in, and then as soon as they did, they were met with that. So that was the first one, and just I got addicted after that.
So I first came across Derry Meet Ups through a sort of Reddit thread. I saw a posting on the Derry subreddit saying Derry Meet Ups, latest upcoming meets and stuff like that there. And I just decided to take it for a browse because at that point in my life, I was sort of lost, mentally speaking. I had really nothing in my life sort of given me purpose and meaning. I wasn't really a people person in that I did not get on well in sort of social situations, something that I found out during COVID. It probably does not help too that I'm also autistic. I saw the thread and I went into Derry Meet Ups Instagram page and I saw they were doing a meetup in Clipper Key, and I thought, okay, that's cool. I'd like to go because there was a pizza place here called Cugino's who did the best pizza, and I figured the worst that can happen is I go here, I see people, I have pizza, and I never meet these people again. What's the worst that could happen? That night, I came to Clipper Key and I saw a young woman standing at the front door. I went inside thinking, oh, maybe they're inside already. I don't know who to talk to, who to go up to start this process. And I remember sitting down at the bench next to the doors. And I was very anxious and nervous at that point, talking to people maybe. And if I was nervous enough in the car, I was definitely a lot more nervous sitting at that bench next to the doors. And this young woman looked at me a few times and must have thought, who is this weirdo? I thought to myself, right, what's the worst that can happen? You either shit or get off the pot, essentially, and it's just a slice of pizza. You'll never see these people again. So I go up to this young woman, by this point identifying her as the person in charge, and I call her, for whatever reason, I don't call her Cassie, I call her Laura because of an Instagram filter, because I thought she was the one who made it. So yeah, that was not the greatest of starts. So that night, I'm meeting all these people who I've come to know since through Derry Meet Ups. People obviously like Cassie, people like Amy, Shirley, so many, and like that night was genuinely such a massive win for my mental health in that I did something that I never thought I'd be able to do. I never thought I'd be able to step out of my comfort zone again, especially after COVID, when I thought all of my social skills were shot to death. Especially with my autism, and the fact that I, did all that and was supported and assured in doing so was such a huge, meaningful moment for me personally. We are still sort of redeveloping, rediscovering, and even retooling our social skills with people. Like even now, like that was already a lifelong process for me with my autism. But groups like Derry Meet Ups and all the similar groups in the city, being part of that, it helps, it helps provide connection and, developing those friendships, but also to those social skills that sort of went to rust and decayed, and even now still coming back to us after everything that happened a few years ago with COVID.
So the reason I started Messy Art was because I have had a long time battle with my mental health. I then turned back to painting because I've always had a love of art from I have been very, very little, and I stopped painting when I was 18, 19, in and around then, and stopped creating, stopped doing everything, and that's when my mental health got worse. So I started back painting again in March, and then as the months went on, I went on a fabulous trip to Lake Garda in Italy, and there was a man that owned a studio over there in one of the towns, and he had like an art school or an art studio attached where he had classes running, and I got talking to him, and he was saying about how great it was for the community and for him and for anyone that comes in. They get so much benefit out of getting creative. And I thought, I want to bring this back because I've had so much healing over the last few months from getting creative again, and it had helped my mental health no end, that I wanted to bring it to Derry.
You're all so welcome. It's so nice to see so many friendly new faces here as well. As my favourite old people. So you're all very, very welcome. I don't actually do much here at all except for say hi, welcome to Derry Meet Ups. I'm Cassie. If you have any questions, let me know, because this fabulous lady over here is going to be telling us.
So one passion of mine obviously is community building. The other passion of mine is supporting local business. So local, like pairing with local businesses and keeping things local and fostering community wealth was at the very foundations of whatever I was going to be doing. So, and it made sense, you have these amazing people over here crafting these community spaces. They're putting their heart, soul, blood, tears all into it, and it was always, whatever anyone was doing, if anyone had an idea, it was always collaborative, it was always reciprocal, it was always beneficial for everybody, but all with an innate desire to support the community around us. So Graft have been amazing for that since they've opened up through things like storytelling, Irish Cafe. They're running other beautiful events as well, all with local suppliers. So it's, I always say this thing about everyone wants a village, but you have to be a villager. So everyone has to be activated in this sense to have that combined mission of supporting the community. And things like, I think I saw a reel of the offline cafes that they do across, London and Amsterdam, and these huge I say coffee shops, but they're like these huge warehouses where people can have coffee. These huge spaces that have, a lot more maybe disposable income or whatever, spaces to create very cool looking things like this. And I just put up on my story about offline cafe, isn't this amazing? And then Salumerio came back and they were like, Cassie, let's do it. And we were like, yeah. And so it's just having people around you as well that hold the same values for community, and doing it in a way that benefits everybody's brand, everybody's business, but really supporting each other's values.
Well, I mean, I think we live in an age where technology is only becoming more and more prevalent. Like this year has seen the introduction of AI into like mainstream life, and already we've had the iPhone since 2007, and I think people, especially the generation below me, have really grown up with technology. So there is like the fair chance that people can become really easily isolated, and really reliant on technology, and just genuinely kind of uncomfortable with interactions with people they don't know, and they're afraid to put themselves out there. But there's a lot going on in the world, and young people, they need to feel that sense of community and that sense of camaraderie, and they need to feel that it's available to them in their own city. And not just young people, because we see this, we see all ages at these meetups in our Delhi. And for one reason or another, be it, someone in their late 30s, early 40s who's had kids and has just been, raising their family for a couple of years, and because that can quite easily happen. People lose touch with friends and things like that. So I think, there is all ages, and for all different reasons, people might feel detached from other people. So I think it's really important that it's available and open to people across all age groups.
I think especially after COVID, a lot of people lost touch with each other. We were just forced to be on our phones as a means to connect, and we lost touch of that. And I think as well, just general community spaces, through funding cuts or through, legacy of previous generations leading on things and it not being followed through by younger generations, we've lost a lot of core community spaces. So it's just finding ways that we can create those spaces again. And, whilst obviously I've kind of carved out my little space in this, I also want to use meetups as a way to activate other people to create their own spaces, to run with their own events and to support them in giving them the help that they need. So I just think no one can say they're fine without connection. No one can, I know we can all be happy in our own company, but at the end of the day, it just doesn't work. We don't survive that way. And so it's more important than ever. It's always fun to do kind of one-off specials of, obviously we have kind of set formats of the type of events that we do, but, very kindly this year we were given a couple of tables with Foyle Hospice because of the work that we've done before, and, it was a way for us again to come together, get dressed up and, use that connection in a positive way. Well, again, you can't be in a village without looking after all your villagers. And you can't be into community building if you're not going to try and build from every aspect that needs it. So, of course, from the very offset of what we were doing, kind of philanthropy and giving back was always going to be a part of it. If we're looking after a community, we have to look after, not that we have to look after everyone, you can't be accountable for everyone, but, we can all chip in where we can. And Derry Meet Ups, it was very easy because, it just means either taking part in community events, partnering with charities, or using our spaces and our time and our capacity to raise money for that. So, like, obviously last year we had a Christmas party. This year I was just like, no, let's do something different. Like, if we're in the mood to connect, if we're in the mood to get together, if we're in the mood to spend money, why not get the benefit of that, but then also help those who need it most at Christmas, which is Foyle Food Bank and the toy drive at Foyle Women's Information Network. So it's just, like, I kind of use this tagline of, we're kind of taking loneliness and turning it into community action, because if we're going to be taking this energy to connect and use our money and do whatever it is that we want to do through meetups, then of course, if a byproduct can be helping those in our community, then why wouldn't we do that?
Derry Meet Ups has given a template to other social clubs in the city. So obviously Derry Meet Ups is based around specific events. They're all very different, obviously, but they're all very creative and they're open to meeting new friends.
A lot of people suffer and a lot of people are lonely and they don't know where to turn to, they don't know where to reach out to. They might feel embarrassed that they're lonely, or they might just have maybe anxiety and find it difficult to go out and meet people. So she has created a safe space for people to come along, no matter what age you are, who you are, where you're from, it does not matter. And I think it is outstanding that she has done that, because it has brought so much joy to so many people over the last year, especially that I know of, and longer. So I think what she's doing is fantastic, and long may it continue.
This is what Derry Meet Ups is meant to be. Yes, it's about building community and building friendships, but at the same time, you're meant to have fun. That's how you build these connections. And, you know, doing something like the Foyle Hospice Gala definitely emphasised that point for me. It truly did. What Derry Meet Ups has done is something profound, something that is truly foundational for how communities work within Derry, how to build a community.
Perhaps against my better judgment, I agree. Go on, lad. Keep out of that.
I think when all is said and done, when you look at the foundation of what community in Derry looks like, what community events looks like, how to run a community in Derry looks like, and basically building a community in Derry, how all that will look like going forward, they'll look at what Derry Meet Ups has done and base what it has done as its template, as its foundation, as they should, because what Derry Meet Ups has done is, not to sound like a broken record, but it's been special. It's truly been special.
A bad word.
Oh, I am. I'm looking forward for it.
Really bad.
That's the first I've
Really
heard
bad.
travel. I'm about to see it.
When you look back on it, what do you hope you've achieved? What do you think you've achieved so far that makes you find it something special? What do you need something special?
I think, you know, it's any time someone sends me through a selfie of someone that they have met up with outside of Derry Meet Ups, that they met at a Derry Meet Ups event. Like, anytime I get those through, that's what makes it worth it, because obviously at the end of the day, I can create the space, I can bring people there, but they have to do the work to then take that into their whole world. And if I've given them the space and the confidence and the ability to do that, like, that makes me feel really, really good. And then, yeah, as we look into the next kind of chapter of meetups and how that looks, you know, that's going to be a lot more active in terms of activating other community members to step up and lead on those things as well as me. So, you know, I think it's the, what's the word? It's the ripple effect of what happens in an offline cafe, at a surfing session, at a storytelling night, and the ripple effects of how that goes out into our community and takes care of people. The future of Derry Meet Ups. Well, we can't stay in Derry forever. Whilst this is obviously where we've created this and experimented and honed this, connections needed everywhere. So we're looking at different ways and means we could not replicate, but I guess again, activate other cities, other people to take leadership in creating their own spaces. Again, not everyone wants to salsa dance on a Friday and surf on a Saturday. Like, there's so many things that people can do, should experience, try and get out of their comfort zones for. So I can't do all of it. So we're going to create a little clan of people who can. Nope. Stay tuned.